Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Best of ARCA. Beautiful afternoon, ready to go racing in the Kroger 250. Today's action on the Louisville Motor Speedway in Louisville, Kentucky. Take a look right now at our starting lineup for today's ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series racing action. We can see that Bobby Bowser is on the pole today in the Bowser Racing Ford. Frank Kimmel from Jeffersonville, Indiana, driving for Larry Clement in number 46, starts second. Dave Weltmeyer's Rouleau Brothers Chevrolet will go third, with Harris Devane in the Highland Timber Ford going fourth. Tim Steele, the 1993 ARCA champion, and starting fifth in the HS Dye Simlink Ford. Scotty Sands with a great qualifying run, starting sixth. Marvin Smith in the Riverside Chevrolet, and Bill Kimmel, a local track champion here at Louisville. Roger Blackstock will be starting the Mopar. Kraken Barr Mopar Performance Dodge in ninth, and 10th is Dill Whittemore in the Indiana Steel Chevrolet. Of course, Whittemore from just up the road in Seymour, Indiana. A great afternoon as we get set to go in the starting lineup here. The second half of the field looks like this. Wesley Russell in car number 07. Scott Neal in number 24. That's the Martin Landscaping entry. Joe Cooksey will start his ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series racing here at the Louisville Motor Speedway in car number 51. Mike Loers from Midlothian, Illinois in the Power Source Racing Engines number 99. Ed Dixon will be driving for Kenny Schrader today in car number 52. And from just up the road in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's Kenny Brown in the Valco Cincinnati Pontiac. Kurt Piercy from Normal, Illinois, driving today for Glenn Brewer, starting 17th. Randy Churchill converted his dad's Ford over to a Chevrolet, number 44. Perry Tripp will go 19th. He's from Fredericktown, Missouri. And Morris Kaufman making his first start of 1995, going off 20th. The last five starters for today's race from Cuthbert, Georgia, is Jimbo Taylor in car number 7. Dennis English from 06 will start 22nd. Blaze Alexander, an uncharacteristic starting position for the Lisa Express Chevrolet. Gary Cockerham from Seymour, Indiana, will start the 58, and Mike Buckley is from Ann Arbor, Michigan, in car number 48. That's the ETS Allied Tire Pontiac. So that's your starting lineup from Mar-Hyde Brands Paints, and we'll be back to get the racing underway here at Louisville in just a moment. Welcome back to the Kroger 250. Henry Wetzel, the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series flagman's got the white in the air. We're ready to go racing. I'm Ray Dunlap, and it's great to have you with us on this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series event number 6 of 1996. A very special guest in the studio with us today, Andy Hillenberg, the 1995 champion. Hey, great to have you with us, Andy.
Well, thanks. I wish I was out there racing myself, but I'm looking forward to watching a great race here tonight.
Bobby Bowser on the pole in the Bowser Racing Ford, where he's been one other time before. And the other pole qualifier in the previous event here was Dave Weltmeyer in car number 39 in the Kroger Chevrolet. So a couple of good cars right up front. Frank Kimmel on the outside. Here comes the green. They're all under power, and here we go.
Bobby Bowser's taking off out front there. The field's all getting through turn 1 nicely. This is a tough corner to get through cleanly, Ray. The field needs to get strung out a little bit. So we got a spin there. Marvin Smith.
Yeah, the Chevrolet underneath Marvin Smith, sponsored by Riverside, gets loose right away here on the very first lap, and that's a bad position to be in there. We've had a lot of rain in this area.
Oh, he's hung up there. That's probably going to, yep, there's a lap for him, and maybe be even more for him as he goes along here.
Well, he's going to lose a lap, but the yellow flag is out because of that situation where he's sitting on the racetrack. A bad spot to be in, no doubt about that. So we just barely get started today here, one lap in before Marvin loops it over in turn 3, 4, 5, 6. What is that over there?
I'm not sure. It's on the backside.
So Marvin backing up, trying to get rolling here. That brings out the first caution. And we'll see, maybe we're going to have to get a wrecker out there to get him out of that situation in the grass. Again, a lot of rain here in the Louisville area for the last 2 weeks prior to this event. Well, we had some crew members went out there, helped Marvin get going. A beautiful looking orange Chevrolet. Sponsorship on the hood there by the Shriners Hospital and Riverside Chevrolet. Didn't even need that wrecker.
Well, fortunately, I think Marvin, he went a couple laps down there, but, a tough break for him right off. But, I think Marvin might be able to get a lap or two back as they get going along.
Well, he's a good race car driver, and we'll keep our eye on him throughout the rest of the afternoon. One to go here, and we'll be ready to go. Here comes Marvin back around, and as you said, Andy, being a lap down now, he goes to the inside.
Yes, this is the preferred position. You know, he's hoping that he can get a good jump on Bobby and maybe get another quick caution. He'll get one of those laps back right off.
If he could gain one of 2 back, that'll set him up. We are going to go 250 times around this circuit, so a long afternoon of racing ahead as Marvin Smith there. On the inside, we see the number 6 car, started by Perry Tripp, has gone to the pit area, and I believe they have a driver change there. Sammy Potashnik will be getting into car number 6. Hey, where is Marvin going? The green has come out, and Marvin Smith, I think he got a...
Well, he did get that jump,
He
right?
got a good one. So the green flag is back out, and Marvin Smith takes off in the Riverside Chevrolet, and I have a feeling Joe Wells up there in the ARCA control tower is going to bring him in and have a little consultation with car number 1.
Yeah, that was a pretty big jump. You know, Hank, he holds. Oh, we got another spin there. The 43 car. Right?
Oh, and boy, Mike Lors really came close to tagging Scotty Sands, number 43. Scotty got loose there coming down the front straightaway, backed her into the wall, and that's going to bring out the second caution. And we'll be back in just a moment to Louisville. And we're back to Louisville, ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series short track racing, ready to go back to green flag racing again, and this time Marvin Smith doesn't get quite as big a jump as he did earlier. Of course, Marvin was called to the pit area and was assessed a 1-lap penalty for that jump, so a tough break and a hard start for car number 1 here early on. Bobby Bowser is the pole qualifier. Frank Kimmel coming up there in car number 46, a good run for Kimmel. We see Dave Weltmeyer and Tim Steele. Now, Andy, I need to correct myself. In the last segment, I said that Bobby Bowser and Dave Weltmeyer each had pole positions here previously. That's not true, because the first time we ran here, they got rained out of pole qualifying. Bowser and Weltmeyer have previous wins at this racetrack, but they both know their way around.
Yes, they're 2 tough competitors. We got a challenge for the lead here, Ray. Frank Kimmel trying to make a move under Bobby Bowser.
Well, the lap car of Marvin Smith there is going to play a factor here of how they go around this racetrack and set up Kimmel's moves on Bobby Bowser. Banquet Table Buffet, the sponsorship on the quarter panel there of number 46. And here goes Kimmel to the inside. He's got a run on Bowser this time as they come off the 4th turn. And down the front straightaway, the position goes to Kimmel. He's our new leader.
Well, Frank, he's a champion at this racetrack. I mean, he's a tough competitor everywhere, but you get him on his home racetrack, and, you know, he's proven he really knows his way around his track.
He sure does, but they have yet to go to victory lane, and a couple of times he's been in position to show his wares here at Louisville, but not able to run around there on lap 250 and pick up the checker. So maybe today will be Kimmel's day. A lot of good racers out there on the track. We want to familiarize you at home watching with all of these particular drivers. A couple in your screen right now: Dave Weltmeyer, Tim Steele, and Harris Devane. Of course, Harris, one of the co-rookies of the year last year, in the year that you won the championship. Andy, give us an idea of how your 1995 season went.
Well, my 95 season was tremendous. You know, winning the championship, winning the race at Daytona, short track victory at Flat Rock. We had one of those great seasons where we got a couple good breaks as far as equipment wise. When things would go wrong, it seemed to be like it was in practice rather than the race, and it was just one of those magic years that you always dream about, and we were fortunate enough to put one of them together.
Well, it was certainly a great season. You know, we talk about the way to win a championship in this ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series because of the diversity of the tracks we go to. Consistency is certainly the key throughout the season, and you proved that last year with a great finish percentage of less than 5 on all of the racetracks. You run 22 races and finish in the top 5 that many times, you're going to win a championship.
Well, yeah, and, you know, we went to a lot of racetracks for the first time, so, you know, like this racetrack here, it was just treacherous coming to it, never seeing this track before. So we, you know, took a conservative approach to begin with and, you know, tried to save our equipment for the end of the race, and it really worked out in our favor.
Well, it was a great season, and we're certainly glad to have you with us on the broadcast today. Here we see Frank Kimmel out front. He has moved ahead of Bobby Bowser in the Bowser Racing Ford. Lots of good dicing and slicing going on back there. Dave Weltmeyer now somewhat set up in a box behind Sammy Potashnik. Here goes Tim Steele to the outside in the HS Dye and Simlink Ford and give the position to Steele. Andy, tell the fans a little bit about this particular racetrack. We see Harris Devane there. Sammy Potashnik now coming out for the first time. We've got a number of rookies here. Joe Cooksey, Also Jimmy Smith out there and Blaze Alexander. A lot of guys who haven't been here before. How do you approach this racetrack?
Well, the first thing, I mean, you have to just keep in mind to finish. You know, as we mentioned earlier, it's such a tough racetrack. It used to be a quarter mile that they converted into a half mile. As you come off into turn 4, it seems like the car just launches. There's a little ramp there, and the car actually sometimes becomes airborne. Makes turn 4 real tricky. Turn 1, you know, you're carrying a lot of speed into there, and it's just a real hard left-hand 90-degree turn. You know, a lot of tricky spots. Over on the backside, if you get down and, you know, too low on the racetrack, you can cut a tire, which is what happened to me last year. I got down low a couple times, and, you know, I think we had 3 flat tires throughout the race. So, you know, there's a lot of spots on this racetrack that you just really have to pay attention to.
I know I've seen a number of the cars coming off at turn 4 actually pick the left front wheel up off the ground, similar to what you would see in a sprint car. So setup certainly a big key in how you approach this race. It's 250 laps today, sponsored by Kroger. Nice to have you with us on the Best of ARCA. Throughout the season, we'll be bringing you races from tracks all around the country. We'll go to the 1-mile dirt tracks in the Illinois and Indiana area. We're here on the short track tonight at Louisville Motor Speedway, and the caution is out over in turn number 4, the area we were just talking about, and we see car number 12. That's Roger Blackstock, and
oh, he's lost a right rear wheel there, wheel and tire.
I've seen that before. I think
yeah, I think I did that last year. Last year's the right front, though.
Yeah, Roger Blackstock in the Kraken Bar and Mopar Performance Dodge Avenger, and his right rear tire is completely off of the race car, and they're going to have some work to do to fix that car. So as he heads into the pit area right now, some other damage where you see the hood up there. We're going to take our second break. We'll be back to Louisville Motor Speedway in a moment. Welcome back to Louisville. The Delco Freedom Battery is the official battery of the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series and one of the presenting sponsors of tonight's race. Marvin Smith again on the inside, and we're ready to go green flag racing. The green is out from Henry Wetzel, and off we go. Back down the front straightaway is Frank Kimmel. And I'll tell you what, Andy, this particular race car that Kimmel has underneath him, a new Pontiac, and it looks like a pretty strong car.
Yes, and you know, as we mentioned earlier, Frank, this being his home racetrack, I mean, he's just he's loaded for bear tonight. I mean, looking for that victory.
He's doing a good job as Bobby Bowser, the pole setter, has dropped back to second place. Marvin Smith is in second position on the racetrack, but again, a couple of laps down due to that earlier incident where he spun on the back straightaway and then also was brought in by the ARCA officials. We see Scott Neal there in the Martin Landscaping number 24 coming into your frame. Tim Steele in the HS Dye Ford, and boy, I'll tell you what a year Tim Steele has had coming into this race. He didn't win the Daytona ARCA 200. Jeff Purvis did that, but he's been pretty strong in just about every other event.
Yeah, the Speedway races that I've run this year, we sure have chased him an awful lot, but he's really got his program together this year. You know, the team's real consistent. They're having some great pit stops. They're running strong on the speedways and the short tracks, and you know, they just keep on coming. When you think they might be down, they pull something else out of their hat.
Well, they've got 2 super speedway victories this year. They won at Atlanta and also at Talladega. His worst finish so far in 1996 was a 6th place position a couple of weeks ago at Salem Speedway. So a pretty good season for Tim Steele. Here comes Scott Neal powering his way up beside Harris Devane, and boy, a lot of traffic over there in turn 1. That can get hairy.
Yeah, it was a little crowded there. They almost went 3 wide, but Scott Neal on the outside, you know, he's coming up to the front, and he's using his head doing it and doing a great job.
Well, we should give a call to some of these drivers that have just gotten lapped there. Dennis English from Benton, Kentucky in number 06. There goes Sammy Potashnik. And we also saw the 10 car of Kurt Piercy there. A couple of these drivers doing a nice job to get out of the way and let these faster cars take off, because there are some fast race cars there in this top pack.
Yeah, and when you're a lap car here on a racetrack like this, you know, such an oddball shape, it's hard to, just depending on where the leaders catch you, it's hard to find a place where you can let them slip around you and not cost yourself a lot of time. So, but they are doing a great job here this evening.
Tim Steele from Coopersville, Michigan, taking it to the outside of Bobby Bowser. Valvoline, a sponsor on Bowser's car this weekend, and HS Dye and SimLink, the primary sponsors for Tim Steele. Steele's car bottoms out a little bit there as it comes through turn number 4, and I've also seen those sparks off of Dave Weltmeyer. What's happening there, champ?
Well, I think what they're doing when they're going over that little ramp, going into turn 4, they're just dragging their sway bar arm on the right front suspension. It's just dragging just a little bit, catching a few sparks there.
Will that affect you at all throughout the race?
If you continually do it over and over, you know, you got a possibility of maybe grinding the sway bar arm in two, or maybe the bolt in half from the sway bar arm can fall off. So yeah, it could become a problem if you see a lot of sparks every lap.
The voice you're listening to there is Andy Hillenberg, the 1995 champion, and we have a car spun. That's Sammy Potashnik in the PTI Chevrolet, car number 6, over in the turn 1 area. So Sammy has looped it there, and that's going to bring out the caution here at Louisville. We see evidently no contact with the wall. I think he just got her loose.
Yeah, he did a good job keeping it off the fence, because that's a hard place there if you do get in trouble to not hit anything. So it looks like he slid down to the bottom of the racetrack, and hopefully they can get him refired and keep going here.
Well, that particular spot on the racetrack played a little bit of trouble for your race car this weekend. Andy Thurman, one of your driving school instructors here this weekend at Louisville, and he put her in the fence there early in practice.
Yeah, he had a little bit of trouble. Andy's a great driver. He's taken on the number 11 car for me in a part-time schedule this year. You know, I have a lot of high hopes for Andy, and you know, his first time up here and running with the ARCA short track guys, just got in a little bit of trouble there in turn 1, but we'll get him back here before the year's over.
Well, it's happened to the best of them, no doubt about that. The white flag is out and the caution light is off here at Louisville Motor Speedway. Ready to go back to racing. Sammy Potashnik has rejoined the field there in car number 6. A couple of lapped cars to the inside, including Marvin Smith and the number 1 Riverside Chevrolet. On the outside, it's Frank Kimmel, Tim Steele, Bobby Bowser. Those are your front 3 cars. And we're ready to go back to green flag action. So far, no one really able to give anything to Kimmel at this stage of the race.
No, he's extremely tough. You know, as the tires start getting older, it seems like a couple cars are working up closer to the front, Scott Neal being one. Tim Steele's moved up. So, you know, as the tires get a lot of wear on them, I think we're going to see a few different things happen here.
Scott Neal, of course, went to victory lane in his very first ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series start at the Salem Speedway, and not very many drivers are able to say they've done that. But right now, Neal in the top 10, and he's moved up to the back of the Kroger Chevrolet. That's the Rouleau brothers entry from Midlothian, Illinois, up around the Chicago area, I guess I should say. And Dave Weltmeyer from Dyer, Indiana, driving that race car. Of course, Weltmeyer won the race here at Louisville last season. So some good race car drivers out there. Here comes Tim Steele to try to see if he can chase down Frank Kimmel in the number 46.
Yeah, he's making a pretty solid bid here. He's kind of sizing Frank up, closing in a little bit, taking a look here and there, just to keep Frank looking in his rearview mirror, and you know, we might have a pass for lead here pretty soon.
We've talked about what a great season Tim Steele has had in car number 16. Of course, he's running all the events, trying to chase down the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series Championship, as well as guys like Bobby Bowser and Harris Devane, Dill Whittemore, Ed Dixon, a lot of those guys running all the events. But this season, 2 different teams have kind of teamed up. Larry Clement owns the number 46 number that Bob Hill drives at the super speedways, and Dan Faldorf had a driver named Jody Guerra running the events for him last year. Frank Kimmel's owner, Terry Shirley, got out of racing as a car owner and went to be a crew chief for Dave Marcus in the Winston Cup Series. So that left Frank more or less rideless. So Dan Faldorf called him up and said, hey, let's go short track racing with my team. So these 2 gentlemen, Faldorf and Larry Clement, have teamed up to field a number 46 throughout the season. Now, each driver gets his own points each week, but they'll chase down the car owners championship, and they're giving everybody a pretty good run for it. But so far, Tim Steele has been the strongest throughout the season.
Yes, he has. You know, Bobby Bowser's also been right there. I think these kind of racetracks here really work into Bobby's favor. I know last year when we came to these kind of places, Louisville, Shady Bowl, Xenia, those kind of racetracks, that was where Bobby was extremely tough. I mean, when we unloaded, we knew that we had to try and, you know, at least if we lost to him, stay close in the points, because he was going to look at possibly a win and leading the most laps, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, you can rack up a lot of points doing that, and that's why he's the 92 and 94 champion, and that's really why his father was a 3-time champion in this series. A lot of that is experience, and that certainly can play into your favor. Well, Frank Kimmel certainly has the experience here on this racetrack, and he's experienced well enough of leading this race. He's done it pretty much from the start after he passed Bobby Bowser. He's been out front here in car number 46. So a good run for Kimmel. And, you know, Andy, this plays into the hometown favorite kind of a theme real nice for us here, because a lot of people up there in the fans were rooting and tooting when they introduced Frank Kimmel.
Yeah, Frank, he's such a tremendous personality. You know, great to race with on the racetrack. He's somebody that you would want to hang around with when you're off the track, and you know, it's nice to see good things happen to good people.
Well, as a short track racer, he picked up his first win at Toledo, and then earlier this season, the first win for Dan Faldorf and Larry Clement on the short track with this particular car as they won at Pensacola in the Five Flag Speedway. So Frank Kimmel, an experienced racer here in the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series. Great to have you with us on the Best of ARCA. Some good racing, as I said, from all around the country, and we've got a spin over here. Scott Neal, just coming out of turn number 1, has looped it, car number 24, and I think he's going to get it going. Evidently no caution.
Wow, the good break for him. I mean, he might end up losing. Yeah, he's going to lose a lap right here. But you know, he was fortunate that he didn't hit anything. Whoa.
Well,
he's got some. Oh, he hits Frank Kimmel there.
That's the leader. Frank Kimmel, the leader, and Neal make contact coming off of turn number 3 and 4, just after Scott Neal got her going again, and these guys get it going. Maybe no caution yet.
I think
the yellow is out.
Yeah, we'd have to have one on that.
Well, the track was pretty much blocked over there in turn 4, and everyone slowed up for it. So 2 major spins all in one lap, but the yellow finally coming out here. And boy, what a tough break for Frank Kimmel as he was leading the race, and contact made there with this car, the 24, the Martin's Landscaping entry. We're going to take another break at Louisville. Back in just a moment. Don't go away. Welcome back to Louisville. Here's a look at our AC rapid fire replay. The accident that happened before we went to break was involving Scott Neal. He had spun coming off of turn number 4, or excuse me, into turn number 1, and he just got going again. He's making his way on the outside here at Mike Luhr's, and I'll tell you what, I think, Andy, he may have just had his hands full here trying to not go a lap down, and some contact there with the leader.
Yeah, Scott's been having such a great run tonight, and you know, that there was going to cost him a lap, and I think he might have been just trying a little bit too hard, you know, got into Frank a little bit.
Yeah, so Kimmel spins, and so does Neal there, so Tim Steele goes by, and he inherits the lead. As the yellow came out that time, they all make a couple of laps, and that's what transpired here. As the light is out on the safety car, we're ready to go back to racing. Apparently no major damage done to the number 46.
Well, I don't think he really hit anything, just, you know, got a little bit of a bump there to get him turned around, and, you know, he's lining back up here in 3rd place, so maybe he can get back up there.
So Tim Steele will inherit the lead at this point of the race. Bobby Bowser 2nd, and Kimmel moves back up into 3rd position. So, boy, a tough break there as Kimmel and Neal came together. Frank's car really handling well in the early stages tonight here at the Kroger 250. I'm Ray Dunlap. Joining me on the broadcast is the 1995 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde champ, Andy Hillenberg. Great to have you with us. The green flag is back out. Here we go down into turn 1. The field is tight again.
Yes, Tim Steele, he got a good jump there on Marvin. Marvin trying to get that lap back that he lost right off in the beginning of the race, and just wasn't able to do it yet. Good restart for Tim Steele.
So Steele will be the leader. Marvin Smith falls back in the pack there. The front 3 cars break away now a little bit, single file going down the back straightaway. Bobby Bowser in 21, Frank Kimmel in 46, and Steele has opened up a pretty significant lead here just after the restart, about a 5-car length deal as he heads back down the back straightaway. The front 3 cars apparently the strongest here, Andy. They seem to be able to get away from the rest of the group.
Yeah, they are right now. You know, we mentioned earlier, tire wear, sooner or later, it's going to become a factor here at this racetrack. It always does. It's such a long race. These 3 might have the best setup right now on old tires. If you guys, if they might need to pit here pretty soon to get fresh tires or something, maybe we can see a 4 or 5-car race.
Well, we talked about Frank Kimmel. His brother, Bill Kimmel, a champion here at Louisville Motor Speedway, has gone to the garage area with ignition problems. Scotty Sands, of course, out of the race with that accident. Gary Cockerham, Kenny Brown, and Jimbo Taylor all retiring and off to the garage area. So we've got 20 cars remaining in the race right now as we started 25, and 5 of those have gone to the pit area. But a good race up front. We have 3 real strong cars, and again they begin to make their way into lap traffic. Here they're going around Morris Kaufman in number 17, and once again there goes Dennis English in car 06.
Well, a lot of it depends, you know, how well Bobby might be able to pull up on Tim is where they catch the lap traffic. you want to try to catch them coming off the corner so you can make a good clean pass and not really have to change your line on the racetrack that much. So this can play a big part in the spacing of the leaders.
Randy Churchill in car number 44, they're going by. We also see Wesley Russell, a beautiful-looking race car there, car number 07, the Lift-Aloft Chevrolet. Dave Weltmeyer carrying the Kroger sponsorship. Of course, the race event sponsors tonight. Here, car number 39, down the front straightaway. There goes Neal. And we also see Ed Dixon, Blaze Alexander following back in the back of the pack a little bit. And here we'll pick up the leaders again. And that's how quickly you get around this particular racetrack, Andy. It doesn't take long, does it?
No, it really happens in a hurry. You know, Tim Steele, he's doing a great job right now, as are Bobby Bowser and Frank Kimmel. He's not losing them, but he's just staying that 3-4 car lengths up ahead, so he doesn't have a whole lot of pressure on him right now.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks, if you're sitting at home watching this and you think these cars aren't going that fast, you better guess again, because Bowser qualified at 102.080 miles an hour. 102 on this less than a half-mile racetrack, so they're getting around here pretty quickly, about 15 seconds.
Yeah, it can be pretty scary at times, Ray.
The Banquet Table Buffet, number 46, and Just For You Tanning is the sponsorship on Kimmel's car, and apparently that spin really didn't affect him too much. He seems like he's getting around here just about the same kind of a line.
Yeah, he's running real well. You know, he's got a little donut there in the door. Other than that, he didn't really have any damage, so you know, he's able to keep the leaders in sight and just see what happens. Frank's a very patient driver, so you know, right now he doesn't have the lead. He's probably content sitting there watching them to see what their line is. Maybe he can learn something for later in the race.
So Bowser led right from the start. Then it was Frank Kimmel, and Tim Steele has moved around to the point of this particular race today. The Kroger 250. And a very interesting racetrack here, but one of the nicest facilities, Andy, that we go to all across the country. They've got a lot of suites and boxes here and a really nice grandstand. Andy Vertrees and all the crew here at Louisville really do a nice job of putting on an event, and we have a pretty decent crowd here tonight watching this Kroger 250.
Well, the thing that makes the difference, we got a car going to the pit area, Ray, the 44 car.
That's Randy Churchill.
The thing that makes a difference with the racetrack is the people that run them. You know, they welcome the ARCA Supercar Series here with open arms, make all the competitors feel at home, and you know that's a big plus in when you're coming to race somewhere.
Well, especially as far as most of these drivers travel. I mean, when you're looking at this field, we're talking about people from Georgia, Alabama, Florida, people coming from Illinois and Indiana. A lot of guys put a lot of hours in on the road, traveling up and down the highway to get to each of these events. So we certainly appreciate the hospitality of all these particular promoters. Here goes Bobby Bowser to the inside as they've caught some lap traffic coming down the front straightaway, and Bowser will take the lead that time by, but Steele moves ahead again in turn one.
Well, they got, you know, Bobby got Tim boxed into traffic there a little bit, but then Tim basically returned the favor. The outside line got moving a little bit faster, so he was able to get the lead back. Blaze
Alexander there in the Lisa Express Chevrolet. Of course, he's running for the STP and Prestone Rookie of the Year award this year. Had a couple of good finishes so far this season. He's finished 7th on the Super Speedway at Atlanta. Also did the same thing a week or so ago at Pensacola. So 3 top 10s for this young driver as he finds his way on this racetrack. I think Blaze got a lesson here to just how tricky this track can be, as he's already a lap down.
Well, yeah, he's shown tremendous promise throughout the year, and as he goes along, gets some more experience. As you said, he's a leading contender for the Rookie of the Year honors. You know, as he goes along and starts seeing some of these racetracks and going back to him the second time, I think you'll really see something out of him, because he's already tough on a lot of speedways, and I think after he visits the ones he's struggling on, the second time he won't struggle.
Well, experience certainly, again, a big factor there. A big bunch of cars just ahead of the leaders here. Some serious 2x2 traffic up in front of Tim Steele. Here goes Frank Kimmel. He's taking a look at Bowser. He's got the preferred line, but again, lap traffic in the way as Wesley Russell's Chevrolet sits there. Here goes Steele to the outside and down the front straightaway. It seems like he may be a little quicker there on the front stretch.
Whoa, we got a spin here.
Oh, and
again,
contact,
Frank.
yeah, contact between number 07, Wesley Russell, and my goodness, Mike Lors comes out of the front stretch and slams into Russell after he and Frank Kimmel had spun. So Kimmel gets turned around a second time, and a horrible chain of events here for Wesley Russell and Mike Lors. Boy, oh boy, Lors just not able to tell which direction Wesley Russell was going to go, evidently. And boy, look at the damage to 99.
Yeah, Ray, he was sitting sideways in the racetrack there, and there just really wasn't anywhere for Mike to go. He just come in, and well, we see him moving around in the car now, so everybody's all right.
That's a good sign.
And you know, just power drove right in the door there. So fortunately, everybody's all right, and you know, we'll. I don't know if they'll be able to keep going. Here we see a replay of it.
This is real time. Oh boy, Mike Lohr really hammered in right pretty close to the driver's door. Here's a slow motion. We can see Wesley just tapped Kimmel a little bit there as they were trying to go around Morris Kaufman, and his car was stopped, and I thought he was just going to sit there, but he starts to roll across the speedway.
Yeah, right there. See, that outside lane was blocked for Mike, and he started to cut down, and after he made his cut, the 07 car started moving there, and there just wasn't anywhere for him to go.
Well, that's a tough circumstance for both Mike Lohr's and Wesley Russell. So we're under caution again here at the Louisville Motor Speedway, the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series racing as they're going to go around this accident scene. It's going to take a few minutes to get this one cleaned up. And here goes Frank Kimmel to the pit area.
Yeah, Ray, this might actually be a little bit of a break for Frank. Not the accident, of course, but getting some fresh tires.
So Kimmel in the pit area, and we'll be back to Louisville in just a moment. On the broadcast today is Andy Hillenberg, and nice to have you with us, champ. Here goes the green.
Looks like Dave Weltmeyer. Oh, he's not gonna be able to do it. I thought he had a good jump there in turn 4, but you know, he does have those fresh tires, Ray, so maybe he can get around Tim Steele and get that lap back.
This particular racetrack has played a tire strategy game with us every time we've come here. Of course, Kimmel was in position to win the first race here before they cut a tire with just 10 or 15 laps to go, and last year also having trouble late in the race. So the tire strategy, though, between Bowser and Weltmeyer and Tim Steele, some of these guys in the late stages of this event really could play a big factor. Do you pit? Don't you pit? Do you wait? What should you do? Here goes Kimmel. He's making a look at Bowser, and I believe he's got a nose underneath him. Bowser's giving him the line. Kimmel, is he strong enough? Yes, he takes that position coming off of 4.
Well, Frank, he got a good line there, made the pass. You know, I'm pretty sure that Frank's a lap down right now, so, I mean, he's going to have to get up there and get around Tim, and then hopefully catch a caution to be in a position to win this race. So
the positioning on the racetrack right now is Tim Steele, the leader, then Dave Weltmeyer and Frank Kimmel, both lapped cars, and then Bobby Bowser running in second place with Harris Devane in third. So the way they're running on the racetrack can be somewhat deceiving, but Steele certainly is the leader, and he's got a pretty strong Ford underneath him today. Dave Weltmeyer slipping a little bit there off of turn 4.
Yes, and you know, his handling might be going away a little bit, Ray. The car that's really the fastest car on the racetrack right now is Frank. His car's set up great. He's got those new tires, and he's running down the leader, Tim Steele. Well,
Bobby Bowser caught Dave Weltmeyer in a hurry there on the backstretch and made a bit of contact with him. We see Harris Devane's Ford running right up underneath of Bobby Bowser, so Devane coming on strong, but Weltmeyer's car certainly going away, and this is evidence of it right here as Bobby Bowser and Devane both go by him on the same lap. So Dave's car is certainly getting very loose, and that is a detriment to Dave Weltmeyer as you get around this particular racetrack to be loose.
And I think we ought to give a call to Harris. We haven't talked much about him this evening, but you know, his car's working really well right now, and you know, he's working his way into being a factor in this race.
Well, Harris Devane has had a couple of 9th place finishes this year, and he finished 4th last week at Pensacola, but has yet to be a factor as a potential winner in 1996. We know he has the ability. He certainly showed that to us last year as he almost won at Talladega, ran out of fuel on the white flag lap, and I'll bet he'd wish we'd quit saying that.
Well, as soon as he gets that first victory under his belt, I'm sure you'll be talking about that a lot, Ray.
Yeah, we'll all quiet down then. But Harris Devane, a real good race car driver. Georgia Peanut Commission, a part-time sponsor on that race car, and also Highland Timber on number 33. Now here goes a bid for Frank Kimmel to get one of his laps back as he moves to the inside of Steele. Steele the leader, and Kimmel now back on the same lap, so he will go to the tail of the lead lap and running right in front of the leader.
And I think you'll see Frank pull out here quite a bit each lap, I would think. This is those fresh tires playing a part of that.
Yeah, and so he went to the pit area there just before we went to break after that accident. And, you know, Andy, I had to wonder, after he was involved in that spin with Scott Neal earlier, maybe that affected his tires. But then on the front straightaway, when he got spun the second time, pretty sure that he would have flat spotted a couple of those tires sliding to a stop, so he needed to get to the pit area.
he was definitely hard on him, right?
So we're at the Kroger 250 in Louisville Motor Speedway. Nice to have you with us watching the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. Of course, these race cars very similar to the NASCAR Winston Cup cars. 3,400-pound stock cars getting around this tricky racetrack here. It's actually a 7/8 mile racetrack here, so not quite a half mile.
7/16.
7/16.
Yeah, we got to work. Put some of the fingers away there.
See, math wasn't my best subject, but 7/16. Yes. So it's less than a mile. Excuse me, less than a half mile. I'll get her straight.
There we go.
So Tim Steele now in the HS-Dye Simlink Ford chasing down Frank Kimmel, but Steele remains the leader here in the Kroger 250.
I'm pretty surprised that Tim is hanging on there with Frank. You know, maybe when Frank got around, Tim showed him a little bit different line where he was able to free up his car a little bit and, you know, be a little bit easier on his tires.
Well, if there's anyone you're going to learn from on this racetrack, it's got to be Frank Kimmel, although most of his experience came on the quarter-mile racetrack running the late models. But still, this is his home track. He knows his way around here. And the surface does change a little bit, Andy. From the newer part that's been laid down, the front straightaway part of that quarter mile in the figure 8 area, that's an older part of asphalt. Does that affect your setup?
I'm not real sure about that, Ray, because you run such an offbeat setup when you come to a place like this. You try to get a couple of good corners, and then you got to give up a lot of the racetrack as far as the other end on your setup. So you have to get through the fastest part of the course the best you can, and then kind of hang on in the rest.
Sounds a little bit like Pocono.
Yeah, it's really that way. You know, Pocono with the 3 different corners. This year, I think you could call it 3 or 4 or 5 different corners, but you know, you really want your car to work good coming down the back straightaway into that 4th turn, so you could get a good run there, and then just kind of hang on for the rest of the racetrack.
Well, of course, the Pocono International Raceway being repaved this season, so we'll see some fast speeds there later in the season when we head back to super speedway racing. But this part of the season, we're into short tracks, and certainly glad you're with us as Tim Steele has dominated the 1996 ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Series on his way to possibly a 2nd championship. But I know one guy that wants to stop him from doing that is certainly Bobby Bowser, and he's keeping him in his sights here at the Louisville Motor Speedway.
Bobby's doing a great job here this evening. I mean, this is an experience not only on his part, but his whole family, the Bowser family, you know, having a lot of experience with these type of cars, the ARCA races, these tracks, and you know, he might fall back a little bit here, but you know, he's able to drive back up there, so it kind of keeps you thinking that, you know, maybe Bobby does have something for him here.
Well, Bobby Bowser set the qualifying record here 2 seasons ago. Or last season, I should say. We were rained out the first season, and he comes back and does it again today, posting a record in Talladega pole qualifying. So Bobby Bowser hot on qualifying in 1996. Here's a look at Harris Devane in car number 33, racing well with Dave Weltmeyer. Devane was able to get past the Kroger Chevrolet there, and I think you're right. He's got a pretty good race car tonight.
Yeah, he's, you know, as we said a while ago, I mean, he's really come on as the races went along, and, you know, Harris might be in a position for a great finish this evening.
Harris Devane from Cuthbert, Georgia. He shared the Co-Rookie of the Year honors last year with Bill Whittemore. Both of those drivers in the field tonight. Whittemore in 56, Devane in 33. Previous champion in 1993, leading the race, number 16. A 2-time champion in 1992 and 94, riding in number 21. And last year's champ on the broadcast sitting beside me. So we've got some pretty qualified people all the way around.
Well, like I said before, Ray, I'd rather be out there maybe in front of those two, but this is a lot of fun up here with you tonight.
Well, give me an idea, Andy. What are your plans for 1996? We've seen you out at Daytona and Talladega, a couple of racetracks. Where are you going to be the rest of the season?
Well, we're running a few bush races. We're going to run some more ARCA races, the super speedways. I'd like to come up, maybe run the dirt tracks with the ARCA series later in the year, and hopefully a schedule of 15 races or so. And there might be a Winston Cup date in there, maybe 1 or 2 as the year goes along.
Well, that's very exciting, and I know that's every person out here on this particular racetrack. Tonight's goal is to go into Winston Cup. How much does this kind of racing, though, translate into the ability to go out there and compete with the Dale Earnhardts and Rusty Wallaces?
I've only got to be out there about 4 or 5 times. It's very tough. You know, these kind of cars help give you a good idea. Running the ARCA cars give you a good idea for when you do go to Winston Cup. But the competition level, these guys here are great, but the guys in Winston Cup are the best. I mean, they are just, when you're back there in 39th place, it seems like you're fighting for the lead. So, you know, those guys right now, they're the best there are, and, you know, these guys here are great and, you know, hoping to work their way up into that division.
Well, that's what it's all about, and that's why we're here tonight, is to bring you some great racing, and you've got it right here, as Tim Steele is really showing the way tonight in this Kroger 250 at Louisville Motor Speedway. They're going around Sammy Potashnik right now in car number 6, and Frank Kimmel again in front of Steele, but he is a lap down. Well, he's on the tail end of the lead lap now, but Steele leading right up there behind Kimmel, running the pace of this race. And Bobby Bowser, though, not letting him out of his sights. There's about a 5-car length difference there, but Bowser certainly biding his time.
Yeah, he's experienced enough. You know, he doesn't have to lead every lap. He knows that he just needs to lead that last one. You know, last year when I got in trouble here and there out there on the racetrack, it was because I was trying to lead every lap. And experience such as the amount that Bobby has, you know, he knows that he only has to lead that last one. He's taking care of his equipment, taking care of his tires, so he'll be a factor at the very end of the race. So, you know, very, very smart driving.
Well, it's hard to believe that we're only in the 6th event of 1996, and Tim Steele has already led over 450 laps in competition. So he certainly has shown everybody the way to do it. So Steele, your leader. Bobby Bowser running in 2nd. Harris Devane has moved up to 3rd. Marvin Smith with a pretty good run here. He's made one of those laps back. And there, look, number 07 back out on the racetrack. That is Wesley Russell, who took that hard lick right in the driver's door area. So they've really done a lot of work to get that car back out.
Yeah, they were able to make some repairs. They lost several laps in the pits, and but, you know, he's out there back out, getting those laps, getting the experience, and you know, he's not racing for the points, but even when you're running a limited schedule, you know, a few points might make a difference for you at the season's end.
Well, and if you're here and the car is able to go, why not get out there and get some experience?
Right.
So here comes Marvin Smith back into frame in car number 1, the Riverside Chevrolet. Frank Kimmel moving back up on him. So Marvin, who just gained a lap back here shortly ago, is about in danger of going down again as the leader, Tim Steele, has moved right up on him. Here goes Frank Kimmel to the outside. Kimmel on the tail end of the lead lap, and they've caught Harris Devane. So Marvin Smith stays in the lead lap, or stays in that lap right there, but Steele is too strong. He's going to put him back down.
I tell you what, you know, Marvin, he hadn't gotten a break here, it seems like, all night long. He's got a fast race car, you know, he's got a top 5 car, but he got behind early and just doesn't seem to be able to catch a break.
Well, it's pretty tough to dig your way out of a hole like that when you go down 2 right at the start of the race. So Harris Devane fighting his way around now, trying to stay in the lead lap, in contact there by the 3-car spin there as Harris Devane, Frank Kimmel, and Tim Steele spin. Here comes Bowser. He'll be posted as the leader, and yes, the yellow flag.
Wow.
Yellow hasn't come out.
Oh, Tim Steele stuck in the grass.
Yeah, Steele gets spun there, but the yellow flag has not come out. So what a terrible break for Tim Steele. Here comes his crew running over to try to get that HSI Simlink Ford moving, as that contact between Harris Devane and Frank Kimmel caused the spin. Oh boy, these guys are getting pretty close to the racetrack over there, guys. Get that car moving. Yeah, they push him off, but Tim Steele running really slow there and coming back up to the racetrack.
They got him back on there now.
Yeah, but all that happened under green flag racing, so Tim Steele on his way up pulls the yellow there because the crew out by the racetrack, and we're going to go to commercial, so don't go away. More from Louisville in a moment. Welcome back to Louisville, ladies and gentlemen. The ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series Kroger ARCA 250. I'm Ray Dunlap along with Andy Hillenberg. We're late in the stages of this race. There's some pretty exciting action there. Just before we went to break, we saw a major spin between the leaders, Tim Steele, Frank Kimmel, who was on the tail end of the lead lap, Harris Devane, all involved there. And, you know, we made mention Marvin Smith got one of those breaks, Andy. He finally got a lap back. But Bobby Bowser has set sail now out in front of Tim Steele. Has Steele a number of laps down as he was parked there in the grass area.
Yeah, that really cost him a shot at victory here. Bobby, you know, a good break for him. He's got a little bit of damage there in the left front. You know, he might have to worry. That's where the oil cooler is on most of the cars. You know, maybe that might be causing a little concern with the crew, but other than that, I mean, he's really set sail, and he's looking pretty good right now.
Well, the thing is, Andy, he's on a lap all by himself right now, because when he kept him going there, and Kimmel and Steele and all those guys got stuck there, Marvin Smith gained a lap back, but they all dropped another lap. So a pretty interesting situation here, as Bobby Bowser is on a lap by himself, and Tim Steele 2 or 3 laps down at this point in the late stages of this Kroger ARCA 250. So a pretty crazy race tonight here on this tricky racetrack, and Bobby Bowser has put himself out into a pretty good position to gain a lap on the field. You got to feel pretty good about that.
Oh yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, you know, as Bobby's experience level, he was just looking to lead that last lap, and you know, if he can hang on here for a few more laps, he's got this race here at Louisville pretty well handled.
Well, the thing that I think is significant here, Andy, is that Tim Steele, Dave Weltmeyer, Frank Kimmel, Dill Whittemore, Harris Devane, all of those drivers have been to the pit area to put on tires, but Bowser hasn't all night long. And there we see the white flag, and only 1 lap to go, and Bobby Bowser is going to have this victory in the bag. His first for 1996. The Kroger ARCA 250 will go to Springfield, Ohio's Bobby Bowser. So Bowser picks up the victory tonight.
And Frank Kimmel ends up second, Dave Weltmeyer third, Tim Steele, after trouble, finishes fourth, Marvin Smith fifth, and Ed Dixon in sixth.
Good run for Joe Cooksey, Scott Neal, Harris Devane, and Morris Kaufman. That's going to do it for tonight's broadcast. I'm Ray Dunlap along with Andy Hillenberg. Certainly thank you for joining us tonight on the ARCA Bondo Mar-Hyde Supercar Series. Victory number 15 for Springfield, Ohio's Bobby Bowser, and we'll see you next time at the races.